Good morning or afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Q&A Cafe for SAP Business by Design. Today we are doing ByDesign mobile app in ByDesign, of course, with Laura Hercalo. She's here today to just talk to you about the mobile app for ByDesign. The next Q&A Cafe will run next week, same time, same place. It's called Payment Runs in ByDesign, and that will be by Alex Waddell. Just a reminder that this is going to be recorded, so whatever we record, we'll put it on our YouTube channel under our Business by Design training series playlist. So look out for that. If you want to register for any upcoming Q&A cafes, we have it on our resources page on our website, and you just scroll all the way down to the bottom where our upcoming webinars are listed. So I'm going to put myself on mute and I'll hand it over to Laura to start off your session.
Okay, thanks, Kayla. Hey, everybody. We are doing a mobile madness session, so I hope you're all excited that we're not just doing one mobile app for ByDesign, we're doing 6 today. So hopefully you'll be able to walk out of this with armed with a few different cool different functions of what you can do and take it on the go, especially during the summer when you want to keep working while you're on vacation. So today we are going to go through, it's actually 7. We're going to do the standard ByDesign mobile app, which is kind of the go-to that everybody typically knows about when you're just looking up ByDesign on the App Store. But we're going to do a whole bunch of other applications as well that hopefully will pique your interest a little bit more. Maybe you didn't know that they were out there. Along the lines of the mobile app, there's also a standalone mobile approvals application with the release 2005. They actually merged that back into the ByDesign mobile app, so you don't necessarily need it anymore, but if you want to use it separately, you can. The time recording app, we'll look at Project to Go, which is on your iPhone, and then we'll look at some iPad specific applications. So the Project Cockpit, Business InFocus, and one that you may or may not know that's out there, but it's a very cool application specifically around more distribution, manufacturers, people that are more in the product-based business, called SAP Active Sales. So with that, I'm just going to run through a quick couple of slides and tell you about each of the apps, and then we'll jump in and we'll do some online demos of each of the different applications that are out there. All right, so the first is the standard standalone mobile application. It's got a lot of stuff in it that you can do right now, and they continually are adding new features and functions into the application. So you've got your standard self-service functions on the left from this screenshot here. You've got shopping carts, leave requests, expense reports, and then different KPIs and reports that you can have. We've got approvals. If you're in sales, there's lead management, either creating a lead through marketing or accepting it and working on it from marketing as a handover from marketing to sales. There's some basic account management capability. Within the last year, they also introduced a field service app, which really complements the field service and repair capability in ByDesign. So allowing your field service workers to take their service orders on the road and actually do confirmations mobily and in the field. And then there's also just admin functions, which again was just released in the last release of Business by Design, which will enable your users to look at the business users and do locks and things like that. Mobile approval apps is really just that. Anything that you have that you're privy to from an approval standpoint, as long as you have managing my area assigned to you from a work center, you'll be able to take your approvals on the go. The time recording function is for not only project time recording, but it is also for standard time recording for payroll if you have users that need to record their daily work. And so that allows your users to monitor their time recordings. It also has embedded notifications too, which the user can be alerted whether, like at the end of the week, of how much time they've recorded versus the 40 hours that they're supposed to work, which is a really nice feature for those, especially in the projects business. We can add new time entries. There's some Outlook calendar integration, and then there's some copy functionality in there to be able to copy existing entries so you can do it a lot quicker. There's the Projects to Go app. So that's real complementary to the Project Time Recordings app. So with this, for any of your users that either are project managers or project team members, they can view all the work packages that they've been assigned to. They can pick work packages that have been unassigned and assign it to themselves. This also has a project time recording function embedded in it as well, so you can kind of combine two mobile apps into one. If you're a project manager, you can manage the team. You also have the ability to create to-dos, emails, and meetings to your team members. One of the fun little aspects, you can record your mood for the day for a particular project or for a particular task, and that allows your project manager to monitor sort of how you're feeling as it pertains to a project. And then again, if you're a project manager, you can view projects. So you'll see, you know, on the left-hand side where it's monitoring, you know, how complete you are, and then versus overall as a project manager, the overall project of what was planned versus what's actual. There's also, as we move more into the iPad applications, there is a project cockpit. This also can be accessed through Business by Design within the Project Management Work Center. You can enable this. It's a little bit more fun on the iPad just because it's got some drag and drop type capabilities in here, and it allows you to kind of kick off some different things. So the project overview, we can do record moods, manage tasks, look at the project overview from a reporting standpoint of both work, cost, and revenue. And then there's a Business InFocus app. Again, this is a little known app that not a lot of people know about because it's not explicitly in the App Store stated that it's Business by Design, because it's just called Biz InFocus. And it's an iPad app that enables you. It's a real pretty application, really kind of tailored a lot more towards your executives with ad hoc dashboarding. It's got KPIs, but it has some interactive capabilities as well. You also can manage your budget queries if you're using the budget query functionality, if you're doing planning in ByDesign. It also has a closing cockpit reports, and then you can add some news feeds into that, as well as again, more interaction and more personalization capabilities. And then the last one, again, this is the one that's really old, but I think it's still out there. I'm afraid, honestly, I'm afraid to delete it, that I won't get it back, because it's a really cool app. I call it, it's like sort of like a poor man's portal. It's your active sales, and this allows you to create catalogs within Business by Design, and then have them available on the iPad app, where you can actually create new orders. You can create drafts of orders or template orders for your customers. You can reorder historical orders, and then you can email quote and product information out to customers. I find this a very cool application. Lots of good use cases for it, like specifically if you're at a trade show introducing new products, you want to be able to sell them rather than writing an order down. You can just bring the app, have people, you can create your orders directly online. Another application for it is if you're doing more point of sale type applications, being able to take it out into the field and create orders. I know like with food and beverage manufacturers, if they're actually going out and looking at the markets and trying to see where the products are placed, or doing reorders with the store owners, having that order guide essentially listed, we can go out, create those, and then just kind of tick off what the customer wants, and then go to the races again, rather than having to log into the application or write it down and then rekey it later on. So those are the apps that we're going to go through, and let's hop into ByDesign. So I'm actually going to just, as you see Hawaii in the background, and get jealous. So let's pop into the application, my screen share here. All right. Okay, so this is going to be our basic Business by Design app, and I'll take you through just a couple of the different features in here. Again, as new releases come out, more stuff keeps getting added into the application, so you'll be able to take advantage of the different aspects, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of the lowdown on how to enable some of these different functions. First and foremost, what was recently added into the standard application is just the ability to personalize the screens. So if you click on your little person, just hold it down, it'll take you to settings and personalize. So if you click on then the personalize capability, you have the functions in here to be able to just delete any of the tiles that you want, or if you just select by pushing down on the tile, you can change the position or delete it or even rename it. So, you know, I can just move that up and down just by dragging and dropping any of those different functions. And then to save it, you would click up in the little white button with the pencil, and you can either stop the personalization mode, save it. If you find that you accidentally deleted something, you can undo it. Or if by chance you just deleted a whole bunch of stuff and you want to go back to the vanilla screens, you just would do a discard, and that would change everything that you've got on there. So that would revert back to the standard out of the box capability. And then there's also the option in here, just like you would in your personalization. So if you do want to take, show or hide major functions of the or groups of the application, we can just hide and show by clicking or unclicking. And then I also have the capability, as you scroll down, you'll see just like you do in your standard personalization, new tiles. So I also have the ability in here to embed on this dashboard, again, just like in the personalization of our Launchpad, things like KPIs or different shortcuts that you might want to add in. There's also the ability in here to add in sort of mashups if you want to as well. So that's just a nice little usability type function if you want to position, you know, certain specific KPIs right on the Launchpad rather than having to drill into those or maneuver things around that you're using more often or more frequently than not. Okay, so just kind of starting from the top down, looking at your shopping carts. The one thing to note, you can enable, again, all of your shopping carts and your shopping cart items. So to enable this, you actually have to have a catalog in ByDesign. It's not just like the standard shopping cart where you can free text anything and fill in the details. You have to have a custom catalog. It doesn't support the punch out catalogs or ad hoc type line items, but it's really nice if you do have specific things like your ancillary items, accessories for your users, phones, laptops, things like that they want to add. Okay. And then of the other areas to your leave request, pretty straightforward, just like in ByDesign, the expense reports are the same type of capability as well, where I can open up any of my different expense reports, create new expense reports, look at the different line items, spread them out across different cost centers, projects, whatnot. I also have the ability to add new you know, any of my new line items. Like I said, I find this really easy when I'm on the go because I can open up a report, start adding all my expenses, save it as a draft, and then when I'm back in the office, just submit it. And especially it's great for me personally, just because I lose everything that, you know, as I'm out at dinner or something like that, and I get my receipt, I can either take a picture of that receipt and suck it in from your library, or you can just quickly take a quick photo of a particular receipt and then append it onto the record. So that makes it, again, really super easy and super user friendly. So go back from the expense report. So just as you click on any of these different applications, just by clicking on the back arrow button, that's going to take you back to the main menu. Looking at the manager approvals, again, I don't have any approvals in here because I'm in this more of the admin, but you'll see it mirrors exactly the mobile the mobile approvals app that we'll look at in a minute. And then you've got KPIs and reports. So your KPIs are going to be everything that you have access to. As you log into this the first time, you won't see any of your KPIs in here. So to add them, you'll want to just tap on the little gear. And then any of the KPIs that you have access to from an authorization standpoint, you can just click in the box and add those, and they'll become part of your dashboard. And those can be all refreshed at a moment's notice. And then these KPIs are, again, not the full analysis pattern of ByDesign that you would see when you drill from a launch pad into a KPI. Just 1 second here. But it does give you, if you do drill into it, it'll give you that second screen where you're looking at your targets versus your targets versus where you stand today. Yeah, actually log out here and log back in again. All right. Again, the other thing to note in here is that this is all, if you're using your iPhone, it works the same exact way as any of your other applications. So if you have facial recognition turned on, you set an admin password, and that will enable your login that way. Or if it's a fingerprint touched, all the apps are configured that way. So again, back into the KPIs, if we just drill into that KPI, let's see where we are here. Of course, it doesn't want to be nice to me today to show us the details of the KPI. So we'll just imagine, if you will, that there was a KPI behind there. The other aspect is the reports. So with the reports, the one thing to note in here is that for a report to show up, they've changed the way that the reports show up in ByDesign. It used to be done through the administration capability. Like if you were a key user and you had the business analytics work center, you physically would have had to create a report specifically for the mobile device for it to show up. Now it's really easy for your users to be able to create those different different reports that are specific to the things that they want. And so that's all administrated through bookmarks. And so if you haven't seen the bookmarks, so here's just a couple different examples of one. So if I just pull in and want to look at, maybe I want to look at all of my accounts on the mobile device as an example. We can start our report, create just an open type of view. And for you to be able to view that, you would want to, within the little gear here, so the little 3 levers with the dots in here that says the configure option, you can add fields and do your start options, but there's also the bookmark. So basically all I would have to do is save that as a bookmark. Oops. And then you have the option down here, put that on the mobile device. So you'd want to tick that mark. I find it's always useful, just as a word of advice, to fill in a description there, because you'll see that on the mobile device too. So if you do have a lot of the same type of report, just different views or things like that, it makes it much more user-friendly to be able to see exactly what you'll be opening up. So if I pop back into this mobile device, if I refresh this, we'll now see, you'll see all down here at the bottom, all account details. So that now just shows that same report available for me for the mobile device. Okay, and I can drill into that and I'll see the same information that's up on my screen. Okay. So pretty quick and easy there. And any user has the capability to do that for themselves. And so let's scroll back, and then just a couple of the different areas. Again, if you are the administrator, if you're a key user, again, if you're out in the road or in the shop floor or something like that, you don't have necessarily access directly to your desktop or your laptop. When someone leaves the company or you separate from a user, we can quickly take note of that and just lock and unlock the user. Or if someone calls you up and is stressed out because they're trying to create something and they lock themselves out, we can see who's locked. We can see all of our business users, and then by just highlighting any of the users and clicking on the arrow button, you'll see, and you can change and edit, lock their user, unlock their password, things like that, straight from the mobile device, because pretty much everybody's got access to their phone pretty much at any point in time. And then if I'm in marketing or in CRM, depending on how your business, if you are using ByDesign for CRM, how your business workflows configured, whether you use the handover from marketing to sales or just do leads directly from sales, they introduced a new capability to create leads directly from things like a snapshot. So again, going back to that more the trade show type operation, if I can look at all of my leads, or I can scroll and look at all the leads that are in the system just by highlighting, using this left-hand button will open up my radio buttons. And then by selecting, you can just select one of those different leads, and then by clicking on the three little dots, other functions will pop up. And that's a pretty standard workflow in all of these different apps to keep, just to keep aware of. The left-hand button is going to be your select, and then the three little dots are going to be the different functions that you can use once you do select that option. And so right from this overall work list, I can either delete that lead or I can hand it over. Or if I'm in sales, I'll see that reject button pop open to accept or reject it. Right. And then I also can create new leads. So what's nice in here is it's, if you know or not know, you don't need an account in ByDesign to create a new lead. So if you think about, again, if I'm at a trade show, and I know we used to do this all the time, that you would have, you'd be looking at or talking to a whole bunch of different people that come up to your booth, and you are collecting, back in the day, you're collecting business cards, or you're still collecting business cards, or you want to create new information. What we can do, there's a new function that was just added that you can just scan that business card. And again, I can take that, I can take a photo of that business card, and then that will append it on as an attachment into the lead record. So as that goes back into the back office, somebody can pick it up and create the account if they want to, or you just have the information at a glance. So again, now you'll see your new lead. I see that that account record. So when I bring it up, I'll be able to access all of his information. You can add the contact records if you want to. I can add a new contact record, again, just by clicking on those three little buttons, and then add any notes for the conversation. So if you can see, like, it's a kind of cool new function that was added in the last release of being able to do this, function, because again, either you're bringing lists in from this from the trade show and then having to rekey things in or upload them or whatnot. Here we can take it on the go and then really keep up to date with all the notes that you're taking as you're having these conversations with your prospects. And then on the CRM side, a little less functionality. There used to be an old mobile application that had a little bit more functionality in it, but it's pretty nice where I can create a new account on the fly. Again, thinking about things like trade shows and whatnot, I can select my different accounts, again, by using the navigation, and then I can do different functions to them, block them, mark them as obsolete. But I also have the ability in here, just by clicking on the little arrow to the right, I can go into the actual account record itself, and I can make modifications to it. I can make some pretty significant modifications to the account. So, and then I also have the ability to call, email, and like I said, edit. I can also add in any sort of new contacts if I click on the edit, the arrow, and go into go into the overview, and I can make adjustments. I can also add contacts in here and then select things as their main contact and whatnot. So I've got to, again, lots of kind of cool functions in here. I can change the main contact. So a lot of functions that I would typically do in the UI just by, let's see. So I also, if you kind of put your finger on the put your finger on the icon against the business record, it's going to bring up your photo library or take a photo, or you can browse the internet. So you could actually put in the customer's logo into the application as well, which is kind of cool. And then so that's the accounts. And then one of the last pieces is just the order pipeline too. If you are using the field service and repair functionality as a user, if you're looking at you can look at your orders, things that are dispatched to you. You can look at your team's orders or my finished orders. If I do have one, I can view all the details related to it again just by clicking on the little right arrow. And look at the general information, the items, any sort of confirmations that have been done to date. And then by hovering back and just selecting again the left selector button, I have the ability in here to select that work order or the service order. And then by using the little right-hand side navigation, if we open this up, I can either confirm the execution, so I can do that again all mobilely, or if I'm sitting out in the field and I want to know how to get to where I need to go, you'll actually see where you are right now, and then and it's embedded. There's some obviously Google integration, Google Maps integration, so I can get my point A to point B route planning out of here as well. So that's the one that has the most action-packed and diverse capability in the system. The other ones have a bunch of different, they're a little bit more tailored towards a specific aspect. So that is, like I said, the ByDesign Mobile standard device, and it keeps getting added to as we progress along. The next one is going to be our time recording. So you'll see in here we've got our project time record. And if we put in our projects user. One thing that I did forget to note, if you're setting these up for the first time, you'll click in your settings, and then it will, you'll put in your URL in there, and then you can also enable whether you want like an application password. So it's like not only to log into it do you need your facial recognition or your thumbprint, but you also would type in a specific type of password that would get you activated in the system. So it's almost like a little bit of a two-factor authentication. As I scroll into just my record, you'll see overall your calendar that's listed here for the month. Anywhere that you have done any sort of recording, you'll see a green bar underneath. And then as we scroll down on the bottom screen, you'll be able to see what's released and the number of hours that are missing for that particular period. Let's see, if I scroll, just use my scroll over to the right or to the left, I can see that view in a different bar chart. So this is actually, there's a long bar that comes across here and shows you what's released and what's missing. And then I can do a summary just by scrolling over one more time to the left of all of my released hours. And then just by popping into one of the days, selecting one of the days, so Wednesday as an example, that'll take you in just to the daily time recording feature. And you'll see across the bottom that you've got different options here. So one is the calendar, you've got your copy all, release, and then paste and add. So as an example, just by selecting this senior housing project complex, you'll see choose your action. As you just keep holding it in, this will pop up and I can copy it. And then maybe I want to paste that into August 6th. And then you'll see all of the details are going to be completely pasted or copied into this new time entry. And all I have to do is change the date at the top, and then I can save and release that guy. So now you see that you've got 3 hours total that are released for August. Any of these bars are going to take you back and forth from your daily record. The top button is going to take you back to the overall type view. Right, and so now we see that my released hours are going to be 3. I also can add new functions and do this just straight from, you know, if I do it for projects, I can do it for projects, I can do it for sales orders. I also can just do standard HR type activities. If I do this for a project, this the work list that you can select from is going to be automatically filtered by the projects that you've been assigned to for that particular period, so you don't have to filter through a lot of different stuff. As a user, by clicking on the gear shift at the top again, you can turn on and off different views. So different companies have different restrictions or requirements for how they enter time. If you're more professional services, you might have to provide a work description, so it can be presented to your customer as proof of work and what you've done. And then you also have the capability in here to change the interval step size. So if I'm a law office, I typically have to register my time in increments of 5, but then that's a lot of scrolling. So maybe I want to change that because I always have to do at least half hour. So then it makes the scrolling piece a little bit less cumbersome. And then if you are using more the Outlook integration, you can say take over the start and end time from the calendar. So that'll automatically fill in some of your details. And so I'll show you how that works. So if you click in any of the different days, you look at the bottom, in the bottom left, you'll see your calendar. And this is basically, this aligns with my Outlook calendar for the day. So I can just scroll in and I can select any of these different options. So if I just put in like a placeholder here, we'll have all of the information. The title of your Outlook calendar will be listed in here. You'll see the duration that the meeting started, and then all I have to do is code it up to whatever project that I've entered. All right. So that is the time entry function. And then obviously you can just release whenever you see fit on there for all of your time entries. The next application is going to be our projects to go. Again, if you ever want to take like a little view in here of, you know, what's out there, or you forget what we talked about today, just by clicking on the little arrows, this navigation sign, we can pop into what the app does and how it works. And then some of these things will actually pop you out to a video to be able to see it sort of in action. Right. And so I'll log in, and I'm just in as a project manager in here. And again, you'll see here's all of our work, all of the work that we need to do. Across the top are going to be all the work packages that we've been assigned to, everything that's open, anything that's overdue, and what's been completed. And so we'll now see just by scrolling down all of the different overdue projects that we have. I can filter or search for particular projects or project work packages just by clicking up in the upper right hand corner. But now I can kind of look at, if you'll notice on the bottom, you've got sort of the 0% complete. As you start entering time against this particular task, just like I see the 40%, that bar will start to turn gray as opposed to red, or if it's green as I'm starting to enter time against that, we'll be able to monitor how far along we are from the planned or committed work versus what we've actually done. And then just by scrolling into or clicking into one of the different tasks or work packages that we have, you'll notice the different functions at the bottom. So one, if it is a task that I have sitting out there and I need to create a meeting for something, for a particular task, I can create that meeting just by clicking on that, and that'll bring up my a new event, and it'll and I can add, obviously it's going to be basically exactly this. It's going to copy all the details from the project task. And then I can also send emails out by clicking on the email about what it is and where it came from to any of my cohorts on the project. I also can create to-dos for any of the team members that are sitting out here. So I can see the person responsible and then change that to any of the other members that are actually assigned to the team, to the project team. And then the last piece, just like I mentioned, you can also add your time entries for this particular project as well. What's nice about this is that it's got a little bit, I think it looks a little bit cleaner than the mobile time app, because you've got your comments, you can actually mark your work package complete. It just looks a little bit more condensed in there. And then as you're in your work package itself, everything is going to be already filled in. So it's a lot less typing or selecting on your end. You just need to go into the actual time entry and put the time in there. And then by clicking on the little hamburger on the upper left, we'll see in more of a summary of myself. So I can see my work, my time entries, my team, my mood, and my projects. And then just by selecting any of those, that's going to take me into the different projects or the work packages that I'm assigned to. And so I can vote on a daily basis of how I'm feeling on a particular task. So if I'm, not so happy about the Target shopping complex, I can put a 2 in there. It's anonymous and it just sums it up. So your project manager will see that and we can send that. And then overall, you'll actually see some feedback immediately about if other people on the team have been doing the same thing. You can see like who all is either super happy about a project or a little bit dissatisfied. It's really a nice indicator for you as a project manager just to be able to, again, get a quick indication on how that project is doing. So if I go into my projects and open up the project, you'll see about like my mood and like my team's mood is going to be listed there as well. And then this is more for like a project manager to be able to roll into here, that I can see again my project work, and then by scrolling into each of the different areas, they'll give me a specific type of report for the project, so I can look at my mood and like my team's mood and things like that. And then I can put any sort of status or status description, and those will automatically update by design as well. If you use projects today, there's little stoplight indicators as you set the status of the project as on track, at risk, or critical. You'll see those stoplights pop up in your in the project management work center under the projects work list. All right. I think that is it for that guy. And now we will go into the, switch over here. We'll go into the iPad application here. Switch right over. And so we're going to do the 3 applications. So we're going to look at the 3 iPad apps, which are going to be the Project Cockpit, Business InFocus, and the my favorite, which is the Active Sales. Let's see. We exit out of this and open it back up again. Okay, here we go. One second, come on. All right, here we go. All right, so let's start in the Project Cockpit. Like I said, you can actually access the Project Cockpit directly from the Project Management Work Center. But I like to use it from the mobile app just because, again, when it's on the go and you can do some more drag and droppy type things in here. But if you don't have access to an iPad or a tablet, there's this option in the project management to open up and start the project cockpit, and it's basically just an emulator for the application. Okay. And you'll see everything that's listed in that app will be here. Excuse me. And so as a project manager, this list is going to be automatically filled. Again, really more geared towards the project manager, because if you click on the hamburger, the toaster at the upper left-hand corner, you see overall the project overview of all your active projects, and then you can view just my projects and then hone in specifically on any of the specific projects that you need. So just by clicking on these, you can see all of your team members that are assigned to a particular project. Another guy that's sitting in here. Hold on one sec. I might have to log out and log back in again. 1 minute. Yeah, let me log out and log back in again. All right. So if I go into any of my different projects, we can look overall at the project overview on the upper left-hand corner. That will bring up every single one of my projects in summary, so I can see sort of where the status is. So if it's on time or overdue, and where I sort of am. And then just like I showed you in the last app, because I have my team mood as a project manager, you can see what those teams moods are, and then any of your summary of the percent complete. Up here is going to show you all of your milestones and where they sit, if they're completed or if they're still open. By just clicking on any of those projects, just by touching it, that'll open up more of the detail of that particular project, where I can see what my different milestones are. And then just by, again, touching any of the little icons there, is going to bring you a little bit of the details. And then if you wanted to follow up with anybody in there, we can actually send meeting requests and emails or complete a particular task. So you do have a little bit of editing capability of your projects directly in this app. And then just by scrolling over from right to left, you'll see it'll kind of hover from the different bubbles that you have up at the top of like your to-dos, all of your team members, who's available to work, who's out absent, things like that. And then if you need to, send an email or anything like that, just by pressing down on the resource and dragging him up to any of these different options, I can put him in a meeting request, give him a to-do, or email him something that he needs to act on. So I think that's kind of cool. Any of your files, so you can look at any of your attachments directly in the app too. I don't have to log into the system to do that. If I click on the status specifically, that's going to give me a little bit more of a dashboarding type capability, where I can see the progress of the number of hours planned, when my planned end was, and any of my costs and revenue. And then I can look at my different team mood, and then look at how many people of my team have participated in voting, what the trend is, if it's up or down, if I've done things to try to make my team happier for a project. And then I can set a status, and like I said, that'll come back into ByDesign in forms of red, yellow, or green stoplight, and then I can enter descriptions in there as well. All right, so that is the project cockpit. And then let's look at the business InFocus. Like I said, this is more geared towards, I would say, kind of the C-level or the VP type level, more corporate. It's more geared towards corporate performance. All right, I really like this. I like this app because it's kind of fun and it's got some pretty cool features in it. And it's really customizable in terms of kind of aligning it with if you're using the Insights dashboards, the Insights Work Center that just got introduced in the last 2 releases to ByDesign. It's really aligned a lot towards this type of capability. So you as a user can actually have more of a favorites type dashboard, or you can create your own. So if you look down, you've got this add button, and then just by by hovering or clicking into it, I can change the name of my dashboard. So maybe it's like delivery or something like that. And then that'll open up a new, essentially like a new whiteboard for me to start adding content into this new dashboard. So just by clicking on the add like you would in a standard option, you've got different functions in here to add in things like your closing, your budget, different KPIs, reports, or I can even add news feeds in. So if I wanted to add some different things around in my KPI gallery, I can open up my cost of goods sold. I can add in other different areas as well. And just bring those different functions in. And then by hovering over anything and opening up the X, just like you would with your standard apps on your iPhone, just a drag and drop will enable you to move those things around. And then I can even, there's standard thresholds and set points for the KPIs that exist in ByDesign, but you can override these. And then you can have different thresholds, different alerts or warning points that are different from the KPIs that exist in ByDesign. And so if I scroll back into that, let's go back into just our favorites, and we'll see some of the other features in here. So let's look at the just the favorites. And you'll notice you've got not only the KPIs, but if I look at top 10 accounts and product categories as an example, I can just highlight that, and that'll pop me into the report itself. If I click on this option, it's going to enable me to do different drill downs too. And this is a little bit different than what you see in the standard mobile app. This gives you a little bit more flexibility without having to log into the system to drill a little bit deeper into the data. So I can change this over from a chart to a graph, and I can look at it by my account. And if I scroll on that again, or just click on the access button again, if I wanted to look at something by country, I just bring that in into my report as well. So now I can, view the report by account and country if I wanted to pop that into the report and drill down into that, or I can change it back to different types of. I can also do different adding and subtracting. So again, one of the other features that you have to do more in the business analytics and ByDesign, if you want to look at, like, let's say, for example, what was ordered versus what was delivered, you have to create your own calculated key figure through business analytics. Within this report, I can actually take the difference or percent or sum of two different key figure fields and create my own new column in here. So again, gives you a little bit more flexibility than some of the standard types of reporting. And then let's say, as an example, I want to annotate this. Maybe I find that, okay, well, like, why is this one up, or why is this customer down? Maybe the ZGF Architects is one of my top clients, and I see their sales are down. We can click on annotate, and so I can select different pen colors, and I can take that pen color and then circle anything that I want to. I'll create my own little pretty circle, and then from here I can send that as an email. So it's basically going to embed that metric, or so that embed that report in here as a screenshot into an email that I would send off to someone else. Hopefully you like that. I think it's a pretty cool feature. Some of the other areas outside of the KPIs themselves. So again, I can look at the KPI. I've got the same type of capability that I do in the reports, where I'm looking at, I can annotate, send things as emails, do the different types of movements from back and forth, and I can add in, different filters or different features in there. And then I've got budget queries. If you are using planning within ByDesign, you'll be able to see overall what different types of budget queries, and then if anything is out here, we can manage all of our pending budget queries. and see if we want to accept or not. So if we scroll into any of these guys, we can see, you know, what the comments are and then your reply and whether you accept or decline those different options. And then the last one that's in here, well, there's also RSS feeds. So just by hovering or pushing any of the tiles will open up the edit feature, and then the gear shift will open up your RSS feeds in here. Oops. And so I can type in any sort of news feeds that I have. So things like CNN top stories or news.sap.com. I can enter those different things in or search for different RSS feeds directly from here. And then by clicking in it, it's going to open up those different news channels that I have assigned to myself. And then the last piece is if you are in the finance area, this is your closing cockpit. And this will allow you to just follow along with how things are going within your closing process of the month. And it also has the same type of capability that you would in the reports and the KPIs to annotate and send emails back to your users so you can see exactly who's doing what and who's responsible for what during the closing process. And then I can flip back and forth into, you know, more of a list type view versus a timeline type view if I wanted to as well. So we've got about 5 minutes left, and I'm going to show you the active sales. All right. So this looks a little old school for those of you. I know I'm like a 15-year user of ByDesign. I was here from the beginning, so this is how the old ByDesign app used to look. Let's see. Right one? Yep. All right. So this is our this is the mobile app for just creating new sales orders. So what I can do is if you're in Business by Design, I'll kind of show you how to activate. Once you do activate this, and to get products into this application, you'd go into the product and service portfolio, and then there's an option called product catalogs. This is also used for you to transmit things like your catalogs out to your e-commerce, your web shop type site. So what I can do is create ad hoc type catalogs and just assign your different options in here to the sales org, the distribution channel, all the basics. And then as you pop into here, so let's look at our promo items. You'll see now that the categories will pop open in here. And so I can select one or many of my different items. So I can create a very diverse type catalog or diverse type option for maybe specific for customers. Again, if you have customers where you're restricting different items that they can buy and want to show, we can have those popped in here. I can do different product searches, and then you'll see your different selected items. And then once you do publish the catalog, it becomes available for you to activate in the mobile app. And so as an example, if I'm sitting out at a trade show or whatnot, or I'm just out in the field trying to take orders for my customers and going from door to door, I'll see my different catalogs that'll be listed across the top. And by clicking on either of these views, I'll see either they're going to be, all my catalogs will be listed on the left-hand side by either swiping left, swiping right, or swiping left. I can delete any of those catalogs and re-upload them. I can edit them just the same way. By clicking edit, I can delete those as well. I can add in any new catalogs by clicking on the settings, and you'll see an option for catalog management. So download our catalogs, you'll see all the ones that are installed, and then if any new ones pop up, there'll be an install type button. So then you'll see these listed on your screen. So if I wanted to enter a new order, I can click on, let's say, promo items as an example, and then I can see all of my different items. And then obviously within the material master, if you want the pictures to show up, you have to have the JPEG in the material master for it to show up. So if I'm kind of doing any sort of like baseball hats as an example, I can set those as more of a favorite type item, pop in my quantity available or quantity that I want. Pricing obviously is going to show up based on whatever account. This does do some, it will do some availability checking as well. So you'll see a little option pop up in here if I've got, you know, my pint glass and I want to put 2 in there. This should pop up if I don't have the option or whatnot, and I can go into my account and we'll see all of our accounts that are listed here. And I can do just a new order for that customer just by selecting on them. We'll just do 5 items, and then it'll pull up their options, and then we can go through and keep adding on new products as we see fit. If I want to email, sorry, let's go back into this guy, into our shopping cart. So if I click on the sales order draft in here, we'll see I can email the customer, so I can see all of their sales order information that's listed right here. If I'm just doing maybe you know, a quote, I can enter that. Let's see that as a draft. All right. Again, I can also even just pop into the account itself, and you'll see that I've got this draft. So I now created that order draft. If I wanted to save any of the orders as a template, you'll be able to save that guy as well. And then you also have the option in here to look at all of their account order history and see all the details related to any of their last orders. And then that will allow you to either edit that order and then submit it, or just copy the order to a brand new order. All right, with that, we've gone through a multitude of different applications for ByDesign. I'll leave you with just kind of one of the last pieces. As I mentioned, just like standard notifications, if you go into your notifications in your settings, you will see things like your approvals, as an example, where you want to see your different notifications. So if you want to see just the bubble of the number that you have to do, or if you want to get banners or other sorts of notifications, it works just like your standard types of apps, where you can just enable any notifications for any of the SAP ByDesign apps. All right, with that, I hope you enjoyed the session and got a little bit out of it, and we'll see you next week for payment runs. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, next week is Payment Runs in ByDesign by Alex Waddell will be here to host that one. So please make sure you register for that on our website. Oh, I think I see a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can someone track the changes that are in draft mode? Where does the calendar data get stored?
The calendar data gets sucked in from your Outlook. The changes to the draft of is that in the active sales app? You can't look at the changes per se in the mobile app. And it doesn't get pushed into ByDesign until you actually submit it. So you'd be managing the order and the draft specifically from the mobile sales app. So no, there's not really a change tracker in that.
Okay. Right. That seemed to suffice. We're at 101, so let's wrap this thing up. Thank you so much, Laura, and we'll see everyone next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.